If you feel like your planner just isn't cutting it anymore, but you're not ready yet to embrace the traditional method of bullet journaling in a blank notebook, I'm going to show you how to do a bullet journal-esque planner inside a Discbound notebook and give you a peek inside my own. Hi, I'm Kaylin, founder of KaylinBrook.com, where I'm all about helping you prioritize what matters over the pressure to do it all. And I'm pretty crazy about bullet journaling and have been using this method as my planning system for years. First off, you might be wondering, what is a Discbound notebook? So they get their names by these discs that hold the front and back cover together and all the pages in between. These discs actually come in multiple sizes. I've seen them from 1/2-inch discs to 2-inch discs, and the bigger they are, the more pages they will hold. Now these notebooks are kind of similar to 3-ring binders, but they're also different and I think better because you can actually fold these notebooks back on themselves, just like this, which I think makes it so much easier to write. The second thing that makes them different is instead of snapping open the rings like a 3-ring binder, what you do to take a page out and in is you just pull it forward or snap it back in. Now there is one more piece of equipment that you will need to do these special punches, and that is to get a special Discbound hole punch. I really love this one by Arc because you can adjust the lever and you can make it a junior size, A5 size, letter, or A4. So depending on the size of your paper, you have a punch to fit. For the majority of my bullet journaling life, which has been about 4 years now, I have gone with a bound notebook which follows the original method of bullet journaling really closely. But lately, I have been experimenting with bullet journaling in a Discbound notebook, and I really love doing it this way because, one, I can organize to my heart's content. You can flip pages out, pop them back in, move things around, and you don't always have to draw your own layouts. So printables are super easy to just find online, print out, and pop it into your notebook using that hole punch that I showed you before, and saves a ton of time. Now, shameless plug, I do have an online membership site called the BrainBook Printable Library, which offers over 100 bullet journaling printables in 4 different sizes, and I'd love for you to check it out if you're interested. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. My own personal bullet journal is actually a mix of printables and my own layouts. But rather than just me continue telling you about it, let me show you what is inside. I bought my Discbound notebook at Office Depot. It's part of their TUL system. This is a junior size notebook which fits 1/2 size letter paper. You could also find these notebooks on Staples or on Amazon. And I also grabbed, while I was at it, these plastic dividers, so they help divide my notebook and organize it a little bit more thoroughly. So I do have here a little dashboard, I call it. It has some sticky notes and flags that I just use double-sided tape to attach it to the back side of my front cover. And inside this first section, I have labeled it trackers. So trackers are anything that I am currently in the middle of updating. So kind of like this year in Pixels page. So this is part of my printable library. This is included in there. And this is just a great way to track your mood for each day. I'm really excited to see how this will look and how colorful it will be at the end of the year. I also created a 20 in 2020 page, so some of these are goals that are going to take quite a while to work towards. Some are just things that I need to do in 2020, like buy a new laptop, and then I am highlighting around the square when I've actually completed that goal. I next have a reading tracker. So I'm kind of a nerd and love tracking my reading, and so these are just books that I've read. Each month has a different color, so I know how many books I've read in a month. And then I also have whether that book was a library read, whether I had it through Kindle Unlimited, borrowed from a friend, or if it's a book I actually own. The next thing is a chronological Bible reading plan. So this was a printable I did not create myself. It's very intensive and is 2 or 3 pages long. So I did find this printable on Etsy and purchased it there. So this just tracks every chapter that I read in the Bible and where I am in that plan. You'll also notice at this point where there is washi tape along the different edges here of my printables. So for a printable that I'm going to be referencing for a long time, so this chronological plan will last me probably the full year into next year, I want to be sure that I am protecting my pages as I go back and forth. So adding a washi tape strip here before I punch the page just really helps it be secure. It also really helps when you're pulling pages out and removing them. It just keeps it really sturdy. Sometimes people ask me, do pages fall out in the Discbound notebook? No, but if you're really flipping hard and pulling them in and out a lot of times, they do get some wear on the edges. So for pages you want to reference for a long time, I would suggest adding a washi tape strip to it before you punch it and insert it into your journal. Now this is a fun tracker. I do have a TV tracker. I am not one of those types of people who watch one show and just completely binge it from beginning to end, although I have done that on occasion, but I'm usually in a lot of different shows at different times. So this just helps me keep track of where I am, what episode I'm on, and then when I'm feeling a certain drama or comedy, then I can go to this tracker and I can see where I am on the episode list. This online orders printable is actually printable included in my library, and even though I live in an RV right now and we're on the road and can't receive a ton of packages, there are times where we are at campgrounds and I order a ton of stuff. So I just want to keep track of what's coming, what hasn't arrived yet, so the little S and R here are what's been shipped and what's been actually received. Then I have a freezer inventory list just to make sure that I reference this when I'm making meal plans for the week so we can use up what we have. I also have a when did I last page. This is another printable in the library. There's a few things here and there that if I can't remember when I last did it, so I just add in a few dates right here, and then I know, oh, I haven't deep cleaned the fridge in a while. I need to do that, and then I just write down the date that I did it. The last two pages that I'll show you in this section, this is actually a new page for me, so activities and rewards. Instead of habit tracking for the month, which I normally do, I've assigned a few different monetary values to different activities that I want to make sure I'm doing. And then I have a few items that I'm saving up for. And every time I do one of these activities, then I can fill in that reward. And when I make it up to a certain point, then I can get that item. I also have a bucket list. This is a staple in any bullet journal, and it's so exciting to look at this because I've already crossed so many things off, and it gets me excited to cross even more off in the future. The next section is my planning section. So I am in this section all the time. These are things that have my monthly, my weekly, my daily pages, to-do lists, all that sort of things that I do on a day-to-day basis and involves my schedule. The first thing is a printable from the printable library, just a 2020 year at a glance, so I can just see where the months and days fall on the calendar. And then I also have a page that features my word of the year, which is peace for 2020, and then a few things that bring peace for me on this side of the page, and a few things that bring anxiety, so I know I can focus on the peace side of that. And I want to mention here that even though you see me using printables, I also have a pretty good mix of my own layouts as well. That's because bullet journaling should be customizable. So there are printables that you can use that help streamline layouts that you want to use over and over and over again. And then there's ones that you use every once in a while and you can still be creative at customizing your layout. So just because you're using printables doesn't mean you have to say no to creativity either. Then I have a printable that's all the birthdays and special days. I love this little balloon layout. I actually started out by drawing this and then created a printable just so I didn't have to draw it every time I moved into a different notebook, and now it lives forever in my Discbound journal. And then the next few pages are some ongoing projects that I will transfer every so often onto my weeklies and dailies. So I have some ongoing projects that Joseph is working on, some RV projects, a master brain dump that I just keep adding to. And I do want to mention here, so you can see this is sort of a project page. I was trying to figure out what's better, Amazon or Google Photos, and what are some next steps that I can take to organize my photos. So this page, it looks a little bit different because I took it, you'll see it's kind of a it's a scan and copy from a previous notebook, so I didn't want to lose that information and I wanted to transfer it into my bullet journal, but I didn't want to redraw everything. So that's a really great tip, is you can take previous notebooks and scan them, print them out, and then insert them into your Discbound journal. So now we start the actual scheduling section. I do not use a traditional monthly log for each month. because I also use Google Calendar primarily for my appointments and to see what's coming up. So instead, I just have a page that I've created that has some important dates, what I need to do, books I want to read, and then coming up next month. And then here's the habit tracker that I used for March. This is just such a fun tracker that's included in the library as well. And then I have my workout calendar spread. I print a new calendar every single month to track my workouts and what kind they are and how many minutes I spent on it. And it's just really great to look at this at a glance and see how active I have been throughout the month. And then we get into my weekly to-do list and my daily to-do list. So at the beginning of the week, this is how I currently have it set up now. I'm always changing and experimenting with things, but right now I have my to-do list split into 4 sections. You'll see here the first section is called Tiger Time. I always get asked, what is Tiger Time? It's actually a phrase coined by Amy Porterfield, and it is a time to work on tasks and that you protect as fiercely as a mama tiger would her cub. So these are the tasks. They're usually writing tasks, planning content for my blog, just things that really require an intense focus. Then I have some things I work on administratively during office hours, a home and personal section, and then I'm always in the middle of a course or ebook, so I'm wanting to take my education to the next level, so I have those as well. And then fun fact, what I do is I actually time block each of these categories on my calendar. So I have like a Tiger Time block, office hour block, and then I work through these tasks. And you can see every day I kind of pick tasks from my weekly list and put them under my daily tasks. When it comes to my dailies, I like to stick with the traditional bullet journaling method. So one thing that I really didn't like about other planners that drew me to bullet journaling was that I didn't necessarily need a full page for a day or even half a page for a day. So you can see my days ebb and flow. Monday's shorter than Friday. And so I really like the idea of just finishing up my day, drawing a line, starting the next day with my to-do list. I also like adding little notes here with a dash. Sometimes I'll add a memory with a heart. I'll do a little doodle just for something that we did that was fun. I love that with dailies, and you can kind of see on these pages through here that you can just add stickers for special days, and I even have a quote here. So in addition to the tasks that I have to do, I kind of want it to be a record of what happened during the day too, or fun things that I came across that I want to remember. Now I showed you that weekly page that was split into categories, and again, if there is something that I'm using over and over and over again, which I have been using this weekly layout for a few months now, then I will go ahead and create an actual printable for it. And so you can see kind of the metamorphosis of this weekly task turning from a drawn out layout to a printable. And of course, I know I sound like a broken record, but that's available in the library too. There's so much available in the library. Definitely check it out. The next section, and the last one I'm going to show you, are my lists and notes. So these are things that I'm not in and updating every day. They're not to-do lists. They are just notes and lists that I want to maintain long term. So these are more reference pages, if you will. So for here, I've got real food snack ideas, just some ideas to eat instead of chips, and it really helps me maintain a healthy diet. I have a don't do list that I'm keeping that reminds me of the things that I absolutely do not need to do or give myself permission not to do. I have a list of little things that just when I need a quick pick-me-up, these are some things that I can choose from, or some screen-free activities if I've been sitting in front of the computer or my phone for too long, but I still want to do something. These are some activities that I can turn to and not be in front of a screen. These last two sections, writing and KB Creative, are related to my business. If you really want, I will do a separate video on what is included in there, but I think this really gives you an overview of the Discbound system. One thing you might be missing or notice is missing is an index. So in a bound notebook, to keep everything organized, because you don't have it organized by dividers or labels or things like that like you could in a Discbound notebook, what is on a page is on a page, and there are page numbers in a lot of different notebooks. The Leuchtturm, Scribbles That Matter come with page numbers, so you can create an organized index in the front, write down what is on that page and the page number, and then when you open up your notebook, you can just look at the index and automatically know what page the information you want is on. I have tried keeping an index in my Discbound notebook, and I have failed so far, because one of the things that I love about it is being able to move things around. Well, if I'm moving things around, I can't necessarily have an index that is permanent and stays in place. But because I already have it organized via the dividers, I don't spend a ton of time searching for what I need. I just open up to that section. There's also another reason why, is because sometimes I have a blank back page on the back of a printable. And so if I don't put something on it for a few months and I've already created an index, then when I add something to that page, I'm going to have to go update the index and page numbers won't be in order. So I just avoid it entirely, and it really lowers my stress levels. I hope you enjoyed this journey through my Discbound bullet journal. And if you are looking to set one up yourself that's very similar, I'll leave links to all my supplies in the description box below. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to be notified the next time I make another one, click subscribe. That's all for now. Bye.